This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information and to find out how you can volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Read and recorded by Eric S. Piotrowski, FBESP.org, Madison, Wisconsin, USA. 18th of February, 2006. The Tao Te Ching, or The Tao and Its Characteristics, by Lao Tse. Translated by James Lega. Part 2. Chapters 73 through 81. Chapter 73, Section 1. He whose boldness appears in his daring to do wrong in defiance of the laws is put to death. He whose boldness appears in his not daring to do so lives on. Of these two cases, the one appears to be advantageous, and the other to be injurious. But when heaven's anger smites a man, who the cause shall truly scan? On this account the sage feels a difficulty as to what to do in the former case. Chapter 73, Section 2. It is the way of heaven not to strive, and yet it skillfully overcomes; not to speak, and yet it is skillful in obtaining a reply; does not call, and yet men come to it of themselves. Its demonstrations are quiet, and yet its plans are skillful and effective. The meshes of the net of heaven are large, far apart, but letting nothing escape. Chapter 74, Section 1. The people do not fear death. To what purpose is it to try to frighten them with death? If the people were always in awe of death, and I could always seize those who do wrong and put them to death, who would dare to do wrong? Chapter 74, Section 2. There is always one who presides over the infliction death. He who would inflict death in the room of him who so presides over it may be described as hewing wood instead of a great carpenter. Seldom is it that he who undertakes the hewing instead of the great carpenter does not cut his own hands. Chapter 75, Section 1. The people suffer from famine because of the multitude of taxes consumed by their superiors. It is through this that they suffer famine. Chapter 75, Section 2. The people are difficult to govern because of the excessive agency of their superiors in governing them. It is through this that they are difficult to govern. Chapter 75, Section 3. The people make light of dying because of the greatness of their labors in seeking for the means of living. It is this which makes them think light of dying. Thus it is that to leave the subject of living altogether out of view is better than to set a high value on it. Chapter 76, Section 1. Man at his birth is supple and weak; at his death firm and strong. So it is with all things. Trees and plants in their early growth are soft and brittle; at their death dry and withered. Chapter 76, Section 2. Thus it is that firmness and strength are the concomitants of death; softness and weakness the concomitants of life. Chapter 76, Section 3. Hence he who relies on the strength of his forces does not conquer, and a tree which is strong will fill the outstretched arms, and thereby invites the feller. Chapter 76, Section 4. Therefore the place of what is firm and strong is below, and that of what is soft and weak is above. Chapter 77, Section 1. May not the way or Tao of heaven be compared to the method of bending a bow? The part of the bow which was high is brought low, and what was low is raised up. So heaven diminishes where there is superabundance, and supplements where there is deficiency. Chapter 77, Section 2. It is the way of heaven to diminish superabundance and to supplement deficiency. It is not so with the way of man. He takes away from those who have not enough to add to his own superabundance. Chapter 77, Section 3. Who can take his own superabundance and therewith serve all under heaven? Only he who is in possession of the Tao. Chapter 77, Section 4. Therefore the ruling sage acts without claiming the results as his. He achieves his merit and does not rest arrogantly in it. He does not wish to display his superiority. Chapter 78, Section 1. There is nothing in the world more soft and weak than water, and yet for attacking things that are firm and strong there is nothing that can take precedence of it, for there is nothing so effectual for which it can be changed. Chapter 78, Section 2. Everyone in the world knows that the soft overcomes the hard, and the weak the strong, but no one is able to carry it out in practice. Chapter 78, Section 3. Therefore a sage has said, "He who accepts his state's reproach is hailed therefore its altar's lord. To him who bears men's direful woes, they all the name of king accord." Chapter 78, Section 4. Words that are strictly true seem to be paradoxical. Chapter 79, Section 1. When a reconciliation is effected between two parties after a great animosity, there is sure to be a grudge remaining in the mind of the one who was wrong. And how can this be beneficial to the other? Chapter 79, Section 2. Therefore, to guard against this, the sage keeps the left-hand portion of the record of the engagement and does not insist on the speedy fulfillment of it by the other party. So, he who has the attributes of the Tao regards only the conditions of the engagement, while he who has not those attributes regards only the conditions favorable to himself. Chapter 79, Section 3. In the way of heaven there is no partiality of love. It is always on the side of the good man. Chapter 80, Section 1. In a little state with a small population, I would so order it that, though there were individuals with the abilities of 10 or 100 men, there should be no employment of them. I would make the people, while looking on death as a grievous thing, yet not remove elsewhere to avoid it. Chapter 80, Section 2. Though they had boats and carriages, they should have no occasion to ride in them. Though they had buff coats and sharp weapons, they should have no occasion to don or use them. Chapter 80, Section 3. I would make the people return to the use of knotted cords instead of the written characters. Chapter 80, Section 4. They should think their coarse food sweet, their plain clothes beautiful, their poor dwellings places of rest, and their common simple ways sources of enjoyment. Chapter 80, Section 5. There should be a neighboring state within sight, and the voices of the fowls and dogs should be heard all the way from it to us. But I would make the people to old age, even to death, not have any intercourse with it. Chapter 81, Section 1. Sincere words are not fine. Fine words are not sincere. Those who are skilled in the Tao do not dispute about it. The disputations are not skilled in it. Those who know the Tao are not extensively learned. The extensively learned do not know it. Chapter 81, Section 2. The sage does not accumulate for himself. The more that he expends for others, the more does he possess of his own. The more that he gives to others, the more does he have himself. Chapter 81, Section 3. With all the sharpness of the way of heaven, it injures not. With all the doing in the way of the sage, he does not strive. End of Section 2.